Dímelo, mi gente, Marcucci here again, my video, and today we're going to be doing our weekly Ondo tokenization roundup, where we talk about all the biggest news that are happening at Ondo, as well as the RWA/tokenization space. We have some really big, important news. Is that Ondo Summit is coming back to New York on February 3rd, 2026. You can definitely apply to attend. It is invite only, but if you cannot attend and you do not get an invite, there are some live streams that they streamed it last year on Twitter. I'm assuming that they're gonna be doing the same thing. So yeah, definitely apply if you're interested in RWA, everything Ondo. They say it is going to define the next era of capital markets. I really do believe it is going to be some of the lead executives, investors, and policymakers. So really intriguing, and it looks really amazing. A lot of great speakers from last year. Without a doubt, I think a lot of great speakers will be attending this year too. As well as we have another big week this week that will, affect the markets, right? And it's earnings season, and all the big banks report tomorrow. We have BlackRock, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and Wells Fargo. And you can trade all these assets, completely free, transferable before, after, or during traditional market hours. So it's truly amazing. Another big one is going to be Taiwan Semiconductors, and American Express reports on Friday. So definitely on the lookout, and hopefully earnings season is really good to all your stocks. So anyways, let's get on to the news. We have a lot of great news. I think, every single week that I do these, I'm more bullish on Ondo, I'm more bullish on, crypto and all that stuff. So the first big one that I wanted to mention is this one. So Coinbase and MasterCard have both held advanced talks to buy a stablecoin startup, I think it's Bank, BVNK, for around $2 billion. And this comes out almost a year after the fintech giant Stripe struck a $1.1 billion deal to acquire the stablecoin startup Bridge. So if you do not know what Bank is, it was founded in 2021 by Chase Harms, Jesse Hemson, and Donald Jackson. Helps companies use stablecoin for customer transactions, cross-border payments, global treasuries, and a slew of other use cases. It first raised $50 million in December, and around that valued the startup at around $750 million. So we're seeing a lot of these companies start buying out other companies and becoming global conglomerates and global giants. I mean, obviously, MasterCard and Coinbase are already super giants, but this just strengthens the fact that everyone is racing to the stablecoin, chase. Everyone wants to be the leader, or at least have a foot in the industry. So I think it is great. So if any deal is reached, it would be the largest stablecoin acquisition yet, and another signal that stablecoins or cryptocurrencies pegged to underlying assets like the US dollar have reached the financial mainstream. And I truly, truly do believe that. Talking about financial mainstream, let's talk about this one. So Wall Street banks unite to launch a stablecoin rivaling Tether and Circle. So it looks like the monopoly that Tether and Circle have, I think is going to continue. I'm not saying it's going to be anywhere, but they have some competition. So 9 global banks, including Goldman Sachs, Deutsche Bank, and Citi, unite to launch a G7-backed stablecoin as market could hit 50 trillion in payments by 2030, and Coinbase forecasts a 1.2 trillion by 2028. So that is super amazing. Who the G7 are, I think, is United States, United Kingdom, Japan, Italy, France, and I think some European nations or some European unions. I'm not really sure, but that's what the G7 is. So it also includes Banco Santander, BNP Paribas, MUFG Bank, TD Bank Group, and UBS. So what is really important about this, and I'm going to show what Christine Lagarde said. She works for the European Union. So banks target 50 trillion payment opportunity. They do not want, anything to escape the traditional financial institutions, right? Like they want to continue, ruling and being in power and having all these, payments happening on their payment rails. And if it is on decentralized payment rails and they're just, the ones that kind of develop it and it's open source, I'm all for it. I don't really mind it. But yeah, they basically are doing this because it is such a huge opportunity. They're not going to lose out on a $50 trillion opportunity. So obviously it was expected. And with that being said, the European Union is doing a lot to kind of accelerate blockchain experimentation. And they're doing a lot of regulations. We know MiCA, and they're doing a lot of other regulations. So now we're going to be hearing from Christine Lagarde. She's the president of the European Union, and she has a lot of stuff to say. about Bitcoin specifically, but about stable coins, and that kind of ties into what the G7 and all these big banks are trying to do. So let's watch it right now.
Okay. So the question is.
So can Bitcoin be like a digital form of gold?
Okay.
No.
That's the final answer, right?
Yeah.
Shall we leave it?
I hesitate to say that, but I say it because I have no fear, because I know that the social media tonight and tomorrow is going to hit me like crazy, because that's the community they form, and that's the belief that they have, and that's the confidence that they generate amongst themselves. But I still am of the view that there is no intrinsic value and there is no underlying value to it, which doesn't mean to say that.
By the way, there's no intrinsic value on the euro, but whatever she wants to say.
There is no hype created as a result, but some can associate with a value, meaning a price, which then moves up and down depending on what happens, who is instrumenting all this. By the way, I'm not thinking the same thing about stable coins. Okay, I regard that as a completely separate category of digital instrument. Okay.
So yeah, basically she's saying we want stable coins, or we want a central bank digital currency, or CBDC. We do not believe, or she doesn't believe in Bitcoin, which, I mean, she could have that opinion. Obviously, I'm not trying to say, like orange pill her or whatever. She could have all her feelings or whatever it may be, but to say it doesn't have intrinsic value, the euro doesn't have intrinsic value. If we're, being honest, and every single bank in Europe, here in the United States, everyone is trying to get into it. So I don't see where she's coming from, but it does make sense why all these, Wall Street banks want to get into crypto, because it's just such a huge opportunity. The next one is BNY Mellon test tokenized deposits. So BNY Mellon is reportedly piloting tokenized deposits that will enable clients to make blockchain-based payments using digital versions of traditional funds. So what are tokenized deposits? Tokenized deposits are digital versions of a client's cash held at a commercial bank. When they run on blockchain infrastructure, they can be transferred and settled instantly, removing the delays and intermediaries typical of traditional payment system. And they handle about 2.5 trillion in payments each day. And this isn't the first time they're doing this, so that they're moving towards tokenization. In July, the bank partnered with Goldman Sachs on a project that used Goldman Sachs blockchain technology to record customers' ownership of select money market funds. So I'm telling you, every single bank, everyone is, tokenized. Everyone is getting on these blockchain rails that are just much better. I mean, it doesn't matter if you believe in Bitcoin, if you don't believe in Bitcoin, if you believe in stablecoin, if you don't believe in stablecoins. They're just so much easier, faster, to transfer digitally online than what we currently have. So that's why I'm super bullish on it. And last but not least, I just want to talk about this a little bit today. If you did not watch the previous video, Ondo Finance completes acquisition of Oasis Pro to accelerate US tokenized securities innovation. Not really going to talk too much about this. I'll just leave the description down below the video that I made talking about this. But yeah, really huge, and it's really a step moving forward, right? They're capturing I think it was like $18 trillion in the future. We've talked a lot about trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, but that's how much money there is, and there's going to be even more money in the near future to be captured by crypto, Ondo, Bitcoin, whatever it may be, right? So anyways, intrigued your thoughts, please let me know what you think of the video. Thank you as always for watching. Thank you as always for your support. Remember to apply to the Ondo Summit if you are here in New York. If you're not in New York, apply anyways. See if you can make it out, or if you receive an invite. I'm praying for my invite. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.